Hi, everybody. It is Monday, February 10th, 2025, 7:30 p.m., and I call this meeting of the Needham Design Review Board to order. I'm the board chair, Mark Glusing. I would like to confirm that members and applicants are present and can hear everyone. So when I call your name, just please respond. Steve,
Here.
Susan,
Here.
Millie,
Here.
and Felix will join us shortly. Also attending is our town staff support, Alex Klee. So applicants on the agenda, please respond when I call your project, 342 Chestnut Street, Monsoon Kitchen.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Lynette, thanks. 1211 Highland Ave, Focus Eye Care.
I'm here. Carol.
Okay, there you are.
Thank you.
Dedham Savings, 1077 Great Plain Ave.
I'm here.
Okay, there's it, Brian.
Thank you.
And 128 First Avenue, Digital Realty. Is there someone here for
I'm
that?
here.
Okay, Maria, thanks.
Mhm.
Welcome to this open meeting of the Needham Design Review Board, which is being conducted remotely, consistent with state orders. The order would allow public bodies to meet entirely remote as long as reasonable public access is afforded so the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the Needham Design Review Board is convening by Zoom app as posted on the town's website and the DRB page, identifying how the public may join. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. All supporting materials that have been provided to members of this board are available on the town's website. Public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. This meeting is being broadcast to the town's YouTube channel and also via Zoom and is being recorded for publication, later viewing, and administrative purposes. Be aware that other people can see you. Take care not to screen share unless the chair approves. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. The remote meeting procedures for tonight's meeting are as follows. I will introduce each applicant on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will take comments or questions from Design Review Board members. After discussion, each vote will be by roll call vote. The building department requires electronic submission of building permits. A copy of your application stamped and noted for the type of approval that you receive will be emailed to you by Design Review Board support staff. That can then be attached to your building permit application. So we will start with the first item on the agenda. And that is 342 Chestnut, Monsoon Indian Kitchen. Mehmet, are you with us? There he is. You may be muted, Mehmet.
So he's trying to use the
I see
phone
that.
for his audio.
I
So
see that.
I tried to allow him to talk. So see if that works.
Mhm.
There you go.
Okay. All right. We are going to do PB cross-out letters, white color, and then we're gonna use the similar size of the existing one, and then we're gonna use installation purpose already existing frame over there for installation. We're gonna use that one.
Okay.
So I can't understand you personally. I'm going to ask you to, Mehmet, mute your computer and then I've got your phone over here. So I think you have to unmute yourself on the phone. I'm trying to ask you to unmute right now on the phone number. So I think there's a.
And Alex, I'd also like to screen share so I can put up an image. I've got the package on my
Oh,
computer.
okay. Yeah. Is it not letting you?
No.
Oh.
Can you guys hear
So,
me?
Hold on one second, Mehmet.
Mhm.
I mean, I think the board all has it separately so we can look at it, but
Okay.
I'm just gonna make you co-host, Mark, because that's
Okay.
the easiest way for me. Oh, and here's Felix. So Mehmet, I think momentarily you had your phone number unmuted, but the audio on the computer is just not coming through. So
I'm gonna have to jump off at a certain point just to get my daughter to bed. We're
Okay,
just running behind, but I wanted to be on as much as I can.
okay. Um, Okay. Well, Matt, go ahead and I've got it up here on the screen. I think you can see it.
Okay, how is now?
How is now?
Can
You guys hear me?
Yeah, just go ahead. We're going to make do.
All right, Monsoon Indian kitchen ladders, white color, 3D commercial hard plastic ladders will be. And then we will cut by router. And then we will use existing frame already there. You can see on the sample what I sent.
Okay. And the frame is, we can see the adjacent store as well. The frame is going to be painted to match that sort of
Yes,
single color.
green color. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So if it's already in a location that's aligned with the others, from when these were done earlier, so if they're using the same frame, that'll fit. So why don't I go to the board for questions, Steve?
Is there any lighting of any type, either on the lights, on the sign rather, or the sign itself?
Sign, I saw their existing lights from the ground over under the ladders ground. They built it, shine through the ladders, but it was existing one.
So it will be similar to what's on the other side, the lighting.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's really my only question right now.
Okay, Susan?
I don't really have any questions. I do. The size of the lettering of Indian Kitchen seems awfully fine, but maybe in big letters it just looks like it might be hard to see. But that's just a comment. I don't really have any questions.
Okay. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I think that I wouldn't want to see it as heavy as Monsoon. I think it's a nice balance. The color will stand out quite a bit in that, against that roof line. So, Millie?
I don't have any questions or comments.
Okay.
Good.
Felix?
I like this more. It looks much cleaner than the old business that was there before that had the script lettering. I think this is going to be easier to see, and I like that contrast between Monsoon and the kind of fineness of Indian Kitchen. One question I have though is I think they have a temporary sign there right now with a logo. Is that going to be going away?
Yes, this is a banner.
Okay. Thank you. That was my only question.
I think Steve covered the question I might have had, which was the lighting. I actually worked on this building 15 years ago, and they didn't do anything I designed. But there is some lighting up under there, but it's not an intense setup. So I think it looks fine, and reusing, as long as we know that they're going to just check and paint the framework again so that it blends in the way the others do, I think it'll be fine. Any other questions or comments?
No.
Right,
No,
so I didn't set this up, but I would take a motion to approve the signage for 342 Chestnut as submitted.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, we come to the vote. Steve,
Approved.
Susan,
Approved.
Millie,
Yes.
Felix,
Yes.
and I'm also yes. Right, so thank you, Mehmet.
Thank you. Have a good night, all.
Thank you.
All right, next
Thank you.
item. Next item is 1211 Highland Ave, Focus Eye Care.
Hello, do you want me to share my screen or do you want I don't know what'd be easier for you?
I'm happy to let you do it. Let me get out of here.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead. If
I
Oh,
have to
eh.
figure out how to, oh yeah, good, you requested it. Thanks. And I just approved.
Thank you. Okay. So as you can see here, the old Opto Eye Care Place, pardon moi, is rebranding, and they're changing to, where's my, sorry, let me just reposition the panelist. There we go, over here. So I can get to the bar. There we go. So the Optical Designs is rebranding to In Focus Eye Care. They're kind of updating a bunch of these old optometrists, and this is proposed on the front door. They're just taking off the old logo, putting on new die cut lettering on the front door and also ours at the bottom. The main sign, they're going to just be doing a panel swap out, so the structure is staying exactly the same. As you can see here, it says Optical Designs and has a smaller kind of much tinier type underneath it. We're going to go with something much bigger where it says eye exams, walk-ins, and it's pretty, I mean, where it says In Focus Eye Care, we're pretty sure it was pretty obvious it was an optometrist, but they wanted to add the little stuff underneath as well. And again, nothing's changed with the actual structure. We're just swapping out the inserts. We did change the color from bright white to a gray. Oops, sorry. Because we know bright whites are not, you know, they're not well liked and they kind of stand out too much. Then we have, that's just more in-depth stuff, breaking down letter heights and everything. And then this is the rear door, just underneath the dental place. They're just removing, obviously, the other Optical Designs and putting the In Focus Eye Care for the rear parking lot. And
Okay.
that's pretty much it.
Panels. Are these acrylic panels? Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, they're Lexan.
Okay.
Oh, acrylic Lexan, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll start with the board. Millie.
I think it looks good, the contrast between the light gray and black. And you know, overall, I don't have any questions, but I guess like the only comment I would make is you know, the contrast between the lettering In Focus and Eye Care. It's very similar in that picture down below, like, because it's so big, you know, I feel like I see it, but you know, I maybe like just a suggestion, like, you know, if it's like, if In Focus is just a little bit heavier, like not super heavy, but just a notch heavy, it might stand out a bit more. But otherwise, like overall, the composition and everything else looks good to me.
Okay. Any comments on the doors? Are those any issues there?
Yeah, the white, I felt like it might be hard to read though.
Well, that's pretty standard approach.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's overall, it's fine. Like the, in this one, like I don't mind like the difference, the thickness, but in the other one, it just like felt like it's a little bit too close.
Okay. Make a note. Felix.
So the one question I have, I'm going to say the same comment I had for the last one, which is I like this one more than what's there right now with the bright blue and everything. I think this looks crisper. It looks more classic. I agree with Millie that if we could increase the line weight a little bit on the in focus, that might be helpful. But the one question I have is this sign internally illuminated, or is there no illumination on this one?
The existing sign is eternally illuminated. So we're not touching the structure or the lighting. All we're doing is just sliding these panels out and putting in brand new ones.
So it will
So
be.
this will still be
internally-
So it is illuminated, just like how the optical designs was illuminated.
Okay.
Okay.
And the box underneath, eye exams, walk-ins, welcome.
Yes, that's a eternal illuminated as well, like the
Okay.
top one.
Anything else, Felix?
No, I've got no issues with the door sign. And again, I like this design. I think it fits in with the new restaurant that's opening this Thursday right around the corner there. It's gonna fit in, I guess, with the Dunkin's that's right there. I think this brings it a little bit more class to that neighborhood in terms of signage.
Okay. Steve?
No, everything's been covered. It looks very tasteful to me. I like it, and the door signage looks okay also.
Susan?
Ditto on everything everyone else has said. I have nothing else to add.
Okay, I had a couple questions. That steel framework, is that going to be, it's hard to tell what the condition is. Is it going to be repainted?
Well, unfortunately with the weather, we can't repaint it anytime soon. So, I can bring that up to them. I think they were just trying to get this stuff approved, but we can ask them to have that definitely touched up and repainted.
Okay. I have concerns that that little box on the bottom was not permitted when they did their other sign. Because it looks very added on, and that's something I think that this board might have had a hard time approving in the past. It's a little tacked on, but I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to, and I didn't hear any objections from the board about it, so I think that I'm okay with continuing it if you change the panels like that so that the colors match. I think it'll be a nicer setup there. I don't have any concerns about the stroke of the in focus word, but I would leave it to the rest of the board if there were two members that were interested in suggesting that be a little denser. If you, as I look at the picture that's there now where we see the street in perspective, it seems plenty visible to me. And the size of that panel is 32 inches, so it's a pretty big panel.
Yeah, it is their logo, so I don't know how much how much they can differ from the brand, but I could ask them. But
Well, I want to just go through the board. If we require it, they'll have to figure it out. It's not,
Okay.
but I just want to see, given the additional info, how Felix and Millie feel about that. If they're like, they sort of think it might look a little better, but it's okay the way it is, or they feel strongly that we should make that adjustment.
I think looking at that proposed street view, I think it's okay. As it is as well, because again, as you mentioned, it is fairly big and it's going to be fairly visible.
I'm good with it because I look at it as kind of just one element. It's called in focus eye care.
Okay.
So to me, it's balanced in my opinion.
Felix?
I mean, I'm indifferent. At the end of the day, it's the businesses and their visibility with this one. So if they want to go lower profile, I think that's less in your face and the public will probably be happier.
That's a good point. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Mark, can I chime in for a minute?
Yes.
I didn't mention it earlier, but since you mentioned it, the little sign on the bottom doesn't really fit well with me either. No one else mentioned it, so I just kind of let it go, but I feel like it does look kind of out of scale with the whole sign, and it does look tacked on, and the text looks like it's been typed or something. I mean, there is something off about it. So
Yeah.
since there's two of us, I just thought I'd
Okay, no, I agree.
bring it up.
It's a sort of an add-on, and again, wasn't able to review that address to confirm what their permitting was, because Optical Designs has been there for quite a while, I believe. Anyone else, or I guess I would look to the other members, are you comfortable leaving that?
So, do we know, was Optical Designs there for more than 5 years? I feel like it's been there for more than 10.
It's been there a long time. I
So,
remember going there years ago.
Yeah, me too.
so I know that this ordinance is not part of the zoning ordinance. It's other ordinances, but I kind of apply the principle from zoning of if it's been there for 10 years and no one has raised a stink or had any enforcement, then it's considered pre-existing non-conforming and just leave it. If they're making it nicer, then that's
Okay.
kind of where I'm leaning.
What I would say, Felix, is that we specifically do not grandfather in the sign bylaw. There's an item in the sign bylaw that requires updating and compliance with the new thing, and specifically that there is no grandfather. But if you want to personally say that that's why you want to do it, that's fine with, then that's why you are comfortable with it. For that reason, that's fine.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying, is because I know that it's not part of zoning, so the law doesn't apply, but just my rationale of saying I don't mind it is that logic.
Okay.
It looks like on the other sign, it was the names of the doctors at the bottom. It looks like I see a doctor.
So I can zoom, I guess. Needham Eye Associates building of optometry. I think there were several names for the businesses that were all kind of working together there.
Seems like a better use of that space than
Yeah.
kind of advertising, walk-ins and stuff.
I don't know. I don't know that they need eye exams and walk-ins welcome as part of the signage package, but as Felix said, this is something that's been there and hasn't been too obtrusive. So while I would never, if they were proposing this as a new sign, I probably would not approve it, but as a refit for this sign, I think the coloration and getting all the typeface into the same family makes it more palatable to me. Is that reasonable, Susan?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I would take a motion to approve the signage package for 1211 Highland Avenue. I will actually make a condition that that steel frame be repainted at its most convenient time. I realize you can't go out there in a snowstorm or in the middle of winter, but we would like to see that repaired.
I will
Mark, could we make, before the motion comes in, could we give a time limit on that, say within 6 months? that it has to
Yeah,
be done?
sure. So it will be painted by July 1st.
I would like to make the motion for approval with the condition.
Okay. Have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we come to the vote. Steve,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes,
Millie,
Yes.
Felix,
Yes.
and I am yes. All right, thanks, Carol.
Thank you.
The next item is uh, facade repairs and renovations to Dedham Savings Bank, 1077 Great Plain Ave.
Yep. So do you want me to share or?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
You can sort of take us through.
Sure. You guys see my screen?
no,
No, Carol was able to send a request to me and then I just pressed OK, so I didn't have to figure out how to
I can,
allow.
uh,
Oh, thanks.
There we go. Is that better?
very good.
All
Yeah,
right.
and may I just say, Tammy, you had said that you wanted me to bring over your other account, and I'm trying. I'm asking you to come over, but you have to approve it. So I'll let you do that if you can, or else you can just use your phone number, which
Okay.
I'm
Is everybody
I'm
ready?
on the phone. I will have to step away in a minute, but thank you. I will try to join as a panelist in one moment. Thank you.
All right. So what we're trying to do is over at Dedham Savings right at Great Plain Ave. And on the exterior of the building around the window, there's a tremendous amount of wood trim that has been rotted around 11 total windows. So here's the Great Plain Ave side. You can kind of see where we're going, and then the Garden Street sign as well. There's a shot of the rear of the building. We'd like to replace the pilasters on the back end of the building. Obviously, there's some rot, as you can see, and we'd like to replace this with PVC AZAC. So it would be, weather resistant, and they wouldn't have the rotting that is currently going on. The bank just did a $1 million upgrade inside the branch, and what they're worried about now is around these windows is this trim and molding failing and water penetrating into the building. So they're trying to alleviate that from happening by having us fix it. We would mirror image pretty much everything that you see along the window and the soffits. The only thing we wouldn't put in is the rosettes that you can kind of see up in the corner where I have the blue arrow. The reason for that is I can't make them out of AZAC and can't get them out of AZAC. And then the other thing is you'll see as we get into them, they're embedded and it has a tendency to have water sit inside of it, which can also cause penetration leakage inside. So these are, I took some sample shots of what the AZAC would look along the pilasters and then the trim moldings that we would be using in this. Here's a shot going down the Garden Street side of what we would be replacing. We replace all the trim around the 6 window locations with the new PVC trim and molding. We're going to match it to the best of our ability. A lot of this trim, they really don't make anymore, the wood trim that's here. And you can see how it's all rotted on the Garden Street elevation side. There's a couple more areas we'd replace the windows. Replace the trim, not the windows, with PVC. There's a shot of the Great Plain Ave side. We'd replace all this as well. We'd get rid of the rosettes. And like I said, we'll try to make it to the best of our ability. There's a total of 5 windows we need repair, but you can see it coming away from the building currently because it's not flashed properly and and the water just sits there and pulls it off the building. There's a couple more rotted pieces on the front of the entrance that we'd like to just replace that and clean that up. Along with the pilasters, again, there's a couple more shots of the type of trim we would like to use. A little bit on the AZAC company. And to summarize, we'd like to remove and dispose of the exterior rotted trim and moldings around the 11 windows and the 2 entrances. Furnish and install new PVC exterior trim moldings at areas where locations and entrance to match existing to the best of our ability. And we'd like to paint all the trim and the moldings a bright white, if possible. So again, thank you for taking the time for reviewing this with us today. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Brian. That looks good. It looks,
Thank you.
I guess my only, I'll throw one question out to start is when the rosette is removed, there's not going to be a recess in that area. That'll just be a flat panel.
It'll be
on
a flat panel, correct? Yeah.
top of that molding. Okay.
Right.
All right, so I'll go to the board. Felix?
So I'm trying to visualize if this is a standalone building or is this the one that has the Berkshire Hathaway and the florist and everyone as part of the building?
It does. It is the one with the Berkshire Hathaway and the
So
and
do
florist.
they have the rosettes in their trim?
I
Or
don't
I don't
believe
see
they
any.
do.
No, those each facade in that on that building is completely different. These
Okay.
guys did this package, man, 10, 12 years ago, maybe.
So then I think that cleaning it up is great. I think AZEK is a much more maintenance friendly product. The one kind of hesitancy I have is the bright white, just because this board doesn't love bright whites.
Okay.
But I'll go with what the rest of the board has to say.
Yeah, the trim is already a white trim, so I think they're just repainting
Exactly.
similar color scheme. Okay, Susan?
You know, I was originally, I went back and I was looking at old pictures of that building because I wanted to make the case for preserving historical architecture when I came to see that that's not very historical at all, and that building had completely different windows a long time ago. So I'm all for making it look better. I do have a question about AZEK because I've seen sometimes it kind of collects in kind of the shady areas, the mildew, or it turns a little green. Is there some kind of protection or paint or something that prevents that, or does it just go on as a raw material and it's white, or does it get painted?
Well, you could do both with it. You could paint it, which we typically always paint it, especially on an exterior. I could use a mold resistant paint. That might help a little bit. But that's fine. That's no problem using a mold. A lot of that too, it depends on the weather side of the building too, whether it gets green. But the good thing is you can just take a rag and wipe it off. It doesn't stay permanent like it would inside of a wood. It's just, you could clean it with a simple green or just a rag and it'll come right off.
Yeah, I don't have any other comments.
Millie?
I think it looks good, like given the fact that like the existing is rotting and this improvement will really be a great one. I don't have like much comments. Like overall, I think again, as I mentioned, it's gonna look good. Just a quick question is that the overall kind of size of the trim, you're kind of keeping the same, you're just kind of replacing with AZEK at the same size, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're not changing any of the sizes or anything like that.
Okay, that's great.
Great. Thank you.
Steve?
Knowing you're making every effort just to duplicate what's there, I have no questions and no problems with it.
Great. Thank you.
All right, yeah, no, I think it looks good. It's definitely needs some repair work and it's a fairly intricate trim design, so I think the material choice will be a good one to make, control some of your standing water issues that you're going to have around the trim. I had not noticed before, Susan, the green thing. I'm going to have to keep an eye on some of the AZEK that I'm aware of on some projects and see how they're holding up. But especially if they paint it, I think that is going to go a long way towards making that not happen. And Dedham Savings has been a good resident there. They keep the place clean and keep it up nicely. So I have no objections to the project. So with all that, I would take a motion to approve the facade repair changes as submitted.
I would like to make the motion for approval.
I'll second it.
And we come to the vote. Steve,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Millie,
Yes.
Felix,
Yes.
and I am yes.
All
All
right.
right.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Brian.
much. Have a good evening. Appreciate it.
And the next time on the agenda is the 128 First Avenue Digital Realty. We have Maria here, I believe.
Yes. Hi, how are you? I'm going to try to share my screen. I'm not sure if I'm proficient enough to do so, but
I can do it if you want. There you go.
did it do it? Okay.
Yep.
We are proposing a directional sign for digital realty. This sign is going to be about 165 foot off of the right of way. It's a very simple sign. There is a sign that's currently existing there. It came to our attention that it's not permitted. So we worked with the building commissioner, Mr. Joseph Prondak. I don't know if I said that correctly.
Yep.
And he said just to move forward with permitting it as a new sign. So that's kind of what we're here to do. It's an aluminum base with cover panels on it. It is not illuminated at all. So there's no need for lighting or anything like that. And then all of the letters that are going to be on this are acrylic. It's a total of 13 square foot. And as you can see, I'm talking about it, but I didn't pull up all of the,
There you
here
go.
we go. Sorry about that. It's 5 foot tall, and it's only about 2.5 foot wide. But they're gonna reface all of this and make it a little bit more presentable. Can you see what was there previous?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. So we're just gonna kind of clean that up a bit. We're not gonna be messing with the foundation or the footers or anything like that. We're gonna replace the covers on it, do black and white.
Okay, so it's sort of putting new panels on the existing, whatever kind of foundation they have and
Correct.
the structure underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess there is a requirement that it not block the driveway entrance, so the building commissioner will review that with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be 15 feet from your property line, which I don't think you can do there. Looks like kind of a narrow band of lawn that it's sitting in. So I would make sure you get a site plan, that on the site plan you check the distance to the street and make sure you're okay there. It's hard to tell from the diagram that you've got on as the location, sign location. But I guess you're already internal to driveways, right? Is that what that is?
Correct. Yeah, here's our
Yeah. All
site
right.
plan again.
So you may not have a problem because it's just an internal direction.
Yeah, it's just an internal directional for digital realty.
I will turn it to the board. Susan?
I don't have any comments. It looks nice to me.
Okay. Steve?
I don't really have a problem, but I'm just curious, is this for internal? Is this to direct people towards 128 and First Avenue or digital realty? I wasn't sure what it is, the purpose.
It's actually
Yeah,
Steve. If you look at where it is on the site plan, it's pointing to the building 128 First Avenue.
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
Millie?
I think it looks nice and clean. The contrast looks good. The only question I have is if the purpose is to kind of like direct towards digital realty located in 128 First Avenue, proportionately does the digital realty, like that text, is that going to be readable because again, like it's white on black. I do wonder like if it's, you know, in this like perspective, like it's hard for me to kind of like see or be able to tell like if it's, you know, it's legible.
What color would you propose?
It's like not about the color, it's like more about the text size. Like the first new size, like it seems very, you know, readable, but compared to that is, you know, the height, letter height for Digital Realty, is that like too small? Or, you know, or is the focus on more on, you know, the address 128 First Avenue, which is why, you know, you all kind of made Digital Realty a little bit smaller.
Yeah, they are just trying to point them in the direction of the 128 First Avenue.
Okay.
Which is why I think the 128 is slightly larger.
Okay.
From what I understand, it's towards the back of the property.
I see.
Yeah, you can see that in the site plan. Millie, an advocate for bigger signage. That's unusual.
Not really. It's just like it's, you know.
No, it needs. I agree. It needs to be visible, otherwise it's waste. But at
what's the purpose, right?
Okay, Felix. Or did he have to go? Okay.
No, I'm just trying to unmute, having a fat finger moment. So I don't really have any comments. I see what Millie was saying. The only thing that I have to say is I appreciate the fact that they're doing this. They recognize that it was done without permits before, and they're trying to get it done the right way.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
We appreciate you coming in. Well, Millie's comments are for you to decide. I'm not an advocate of requiring you to make it a little bigger. I mean, it's certainly if you wanted to, we would probably support that, but you're gonna, I'm guessing there's sort of a brand identity with that box and Digital Realty that would have to change.
They are.
And maybe
we're doing a couple of their locations, and they all have that same brand.
So enlarging them, you'll end up crowding the edges of the sign, and we'll have it, you know, then we have a different set of issues. So if that size works for them, I'm content. I'm willing to accept that.
Thank you.
All right. So I would take a motion to approve the sign for 128 First Avenue Digital Realty as submitted.
I would like to make the motion for approval.
I'll second it.
And we come to the vote. Steve?
Yes.
Susan?
Yes.
Millie?
Yes.
Felix?
Yes.
And I am yes. All right. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you. You guys have a good day.
All right.
Evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Look at Felix's little logo here. I wonder. Are those bollards?
No, they're rolls of plans.
Ah,
it's my company logo.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So.
So the next item is the minutes of January 13th. I was not here, so I won't vote, but I would there are any changes or questions or comments? Okay, so I would take a motion to approve the minutes of January 13th.
I'd like to make the motion for approval.
I'll second that motion.
All right, and we come to the vote. Steve?
Yes.
Millie?
Yes.
Felix?
I'm just looking at it. If you can get back to me in a second.
Okay, well, Susan and I weren't there, so we're not going to vote.
Oh, okay. So then, yes, I just confirmed everything.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, we can wait a minute if you want to look. There's something you want to look at.
No, I was just looking at how we did the CVS thing. But I think they got it right. So yes.
Okay. So the minutes are approved.
To adjourn?
I did want to just make one comment. I think that we started to kind of rotate some chairing of the meetings so that it's not always me. So I think, but while I'm there, so I can help out if anything funny comes up. So I may try and start doing that again. So I'll contact you all and talk about it. And then the other thing I want to do is in the near future, when we have a small agenda, I think I'd kind of like to just roll through the bylaw and point out what I think are some of the key parts so that we're all up to speed. I think the last meeting, looking at the notes, there were a couple questions again about sort of an existing sign and what it is. And so we can just kind of review, so what I think the board has traditionally, how they've dealt with that and how the bylaw deals with that. So that'll be coming up when we have a small agenda, similar to tonight, which wasn't that difficult. We might take 10, 15 minutes and just try and go through that. All right. All right. So I would take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Thank you. We come to the vote. Steve,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Billy,
Yes.
and Felix.
Yes.
And the chair is yes. So thank you, Alex, for jumping in for us. We'll see you again next month, I assume.
Yes, you will.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Take care.
Okay.